Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Business Courier. It's making an impact on just about every major project in Cincinnati. So what is the Hale Foundation and who's behind it? 3CDC's staff is literally on the move once again in Over the Rhine. And the woman behind the pig gives us a look ahead to 2015. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Peg Rasconi. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, a one-of-a-kind organization with the clout to change the direction of Cincinnati's civic life. It's not the biggest foundation in our area, but the Ralph V. and Carol Ann Hale U.S. Bank Foundation is proving it has the disruptive vision to make a lasting and significant impact. Best known for being a major player in arts, culture, and higher education, the Hale Foundation emerged as the key funder to keep the streetcar alive. Then its leaders jumped into another politically charged battle, the fight to save Music Hall and Union Terminal, Cincinnati's most iconic buildings. CEO Tim Maloney says it's a limelight he never anticipated. The endowment was built on the ownership and sale of People's Liberty Bank, originally owned by Carol Hale's father.
Carol and Ralph were always very seriously involved in giving back. If it wasn't giving back in time, it was giving back with money. Their resources came from the growth of the bank, and they were grateful for the role that U.S. Bank played in enlarging that pot of money.
While now seen as a major player in major civic projects, the Hale Foundation still supports arts and culture projects like Artworks, as well as innovative endeavors like Cosign in Northside. Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick took the dive into the fascinating world of the Hale Foundation and joins Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer with more on what he found. Rob and Chris.
Peg, thank you, and Chris, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Cincinnati's got plenty of family foundations, but you decided that looking at Hale, specifically taking a deeper dive into Hale was worth your time, worth the Courier's time. Why did you feel that way?
You know, these guys have taken a role in the community that basically hasn't existed in recent years. I mean, they have, you know, they were known a year ago for jumping into the streetcar project and basically providing the money that convinced Kevin Flynn to become the 6th vote to save the project. Without them, we wouldn't be, you know, building that streetcar today. But they didn't go away after that. They stepped into the icon tax issue, which I don't think they thought would be as politically tumultuous as it was. But they stepped in and they, you know, tried to provide leadership. They didn't get everything they wanted in that case, unlike the streetcar. But you know, they played a major role, and I think they're going to play a major role in the city's civic life in the future.
So the two players really that you can focus on are Tim Maloney, who runs the foundation, and Eric Abner, vice president, and really oftentimes sort of the face of the foundation.
Yeah.
What do they, each of them, bring to the foundation that maybe sets them apart as well? I know Maloney, for instance, had a pretty close relationship with the Hales themselves.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of their best friends in life, I mean, by far. I mean, he was a banker for 25 years. He never actually worked for Ralph Hale, which is kind of interesting. They were really just friends. And, you know, he and his wife were very close with them. One of the details in the story is that his wife, Tim Maloney's wife, wore Carol Ann Hale's wedding dress on their wedding day. So these were people that, you know, the Hales really, really trusted. Abner, he's got a long history in town as well. He started out at the city of Newport, and then he worked for the Cincinnati Business Committee as their associate director, so he knows all the power players in town as well.
So one more question for you. What next? You said they didn't back away after the streetcar battle, but what should we see from them in the future?
Well, as you know, they severed the Music Hall from the icon tax. It's only going to take care of Union Terminal, so Hale's their next big thing is going to be to figure out a plan, to help figure out a plan for Music Hall, and I think we're going to see a big donation from them coming pretty soon.
Interesting. Great story, Chris. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Peg, back to you.
All right, thanks, Rob and Chris. Well, a new angel capital group includes a who's who of Northern Kentucky investors. Brad Zapp plans to raise $5 million to invest in startup companies through Kinetic Angels. The investors include Eric Haas, co-owner of Hofbrauhaus, Richard Fields, president of Post Glover Resistors, Joe Klunk, chairman of Parkway Products, and former Covington Mayor Chuck Shepper. In all, Zapp has about 50 investors and expects to start considering new startup investments next month. It only took 128 years, but Mount Washington Savings Bank is now selling stock to the public for the first time and raising money to grow. The One Branch Bank launched a stock offering that will convert it from mutual ownership controlled by depositors to stock ownership with shareholders controlling the company.
We went from a sort of a sleepy little savings and loan with passbooks and little to no technology to we have a full platform of commercial banking products today. We have remote deposit capture, we have internet banking, bill pay services, and we're looking to expand that even further.
Neeson says the bank plans to raise $7 million to $11 million. The new real estate firm, started in September by 3 former Miller Valentine Group executives, is now joining with Messer Construction, the largest Cincinnati-based commercial construction company. The partnership gives Terex Development and Construction access to Messer's financial backing, geographic reach, and impressive client list. Messer gains a partner with expertise that they've been looking to add.
Our key customers in all of our cities have decided to use development services. Messer did not have that in-house.
So it was a natural fit for us to bring our development expertise with some of Messer's key market clients, that they are able to kind of add to the breadth of services that they would typically provide.
Messer's clients include the healthcare and higher education industries. So how does this sound? 5 weeks paid vacation no matter how long you've been employed. Workers at a Cincinnati telecommunications company were given that perk last week. It's part of a new benefits package that PowerNet thinks will increase overall employee wellness and decrease health care costs. The benefits package includes a minimum 5 weeks paid vacation and a day off for doctor visits, $400 wellness credit that can be used for a gym membership or other things to improve health, and a 1-year pass to Hamilton County parks. Well, speaking of corporate wellness, General Electric made some big inroads last week. GE Aviation in Evendale is building a family wellness center to offer primary medical care for its 7,000 local employees, their dependents, and GE retirees in greater Cincinnati. The center, which is to open next year, will be managed by doctors and nurses affiliated with TriHealth. The staff at Cincinnati Center City Development Corporation is settling into its new over-the-Rhine office. The new headquarters are at 12th and Walnut Streets in the former Pabst bedding warehouse.
This building was a strategic location to bridge the divide between the Vine Street corridor and the extant district on Main Street, and also piggybacking off of the success of Mercer Commons. The development that was just completed this year.
The move was necessary from 3CDC's Ray Street location to accommodate a growing staff, which now numbers 55 people. A local woman who has made a huge impact on the local running scene started her career in TV. Irish Simpson Bush spent almost 30 years in radio and TV broadcast sales before turning her love of running into a job as executive director of the Flying Pig Marathon. Since she took over in 2012, the pig has grown significantly. The Flying Pig Weekend has more than 36,000 race registrants. Combined with a trade show featuring 120 local and national vendors, the 3-day event drew nearly 84,000 participants this year, making it #1 on the Courier's list of the largest expos in the tri-state.
In 2015, the Flying Pig will be pretty much the same. We feel we now have events for athletes of all abilities. What we have added is the beer series running March through September and the female-themed Queen Bee in October.
By the way, Simpson Bush says the best place to run in Cincinnati is along the riverfront. Wearable technology created by a Cincinnati startup company got some national attention last week when it was featured on the game show The Price is Right. Capture is an audio recording wristband. If you hear something that's interesting, just double tap the Capture band and it sends audio from the last 60 seconds straight to a person's smartphone. People can then share the audio on social media or email it like an audio snapshot. Capture co-founder Matthew Dooley will join us a little later in the program to talk about a special event coming up Saturday where you can get your hands on that Capture band and other local startup products just in time for Christmas. Well, up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, a look inside the home of a former Red that just sold for over $1 million. And sure, Christmas is coming, but what's brewing to celebrate Beer Week? Some news now that's getting a lot of attention on the Business Courier website and social media sites. Another peek inside a home of the rich and famous, this time topping the web hits, is the former home of Francisco Cordero, who was closing pitcher for the Reds from 2008 to 2011. Located in the estates of Wiedemann Mansion area of Newport, it recently sold for $1.2 million. Convicted Hamilton County Juvenile Court Judge Tracy Hunter was sentenced to 6 months in the Hamilton County Justice Center and 1 year probation for her conviction on one felony count of having unlawful interest in a public contract. Hunter's attorney, Clyde Bennett III, called 17 character witnesses who asked for leniency prior to Hunter's sentencing. All of Cincinnati's licensed breweries are collaborating this winter on a mega brew to celebrate the 4th annual Cincinnati Beer Week. Black Tart Stout is a collaborative effort among 15 local breweries. Cincinnati Beer Week is February 13th to 22nd, mark your calendars, but Black Tart will be available to purchase on January 12th. And you can live near this. Local developers are planning to transform the site of the former Kings Island Resort and Conference Center into a luxury apartment development with about 300 units. Town Properties is working on a plan to develop the 21-acre site just north of Kings Island. When it comes to the economy, a surprising trend that's making all of us happy: falling oil prices. In this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, Vice President and Senior Portfolio Manager Mike Denneman joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon to talk about the global impact of this trend. Mike and Kelly.
Thanks, Peg. Mike, great to see you this week.
Good morning.
So we talked about this a couple months ago, falling oil prices, and yay, we were so happy, but now even more.
That's right.
What's happened?
That's right. So yeah, when we talked about it a couple months ago, we had oil trading about $85 a barrel, which was a sharp decline from where it had been. Today, it's even lower. It's below $60 a barrel now. So when you compare that to the $110 that it had been at just this past summer, you can see what absolutely dramatic decline, almost in half. And in fact, lowest oil prices today since we've had since 2009. So, as we discussed a couple months ago, it's still an issue of supply and demand. Global supply is a great deal higher than the demand, so that forces the price down. And then when you put that in combination with the announcement out of OPEC just a couple of weeks ago, they've decided to keep their output high despite the lack of demand. So all that does is serve to drive the price down further. The imbalance gets even worse.
So while this all sounds great for us, as in anything there are winners and losers, let's start with who is hurt by this news.
Sure. Just last week we talked about, within the stock market, industries that had been winners and losers for 2014. And we singled out U.S. oil stocks as by far the worst performing sector. Well, in the past week it's gotten even worse. The average oil company stock is down about 15% this year compared to a market that's actually doing very well. So that's a pretty wide disparity. And then when we look globally, geopolitically, it has some ramifications too. Countries that produce and export oil but don't belong to OPEC are going to start to feel the strain as well. So a great example there is Russia. They produce a tremendous amount of oil and they rely on exporting a good deal of it to make up the bulk of their national budget. Well, that works great when oil's at 110 a barrel. At 60 or less, not so much. So we're already starting to see the fallout from that. Their national currency, the ruble, traded this past week at its lowest level in history. So it's not just a conversation topic. The low price of oil, it has real world consequences.
And so how about the winners? Who's on the benefit side of this?
Well, you hit the nail on the head earlier. U.S. consumers clearly are reaping the benefits. The price at the pump has continued to fall, and that just puts extra dollars in the pockets of average Americans. And more so, what better time of the year to have some extra spending money lying around? So you can extrapolate that, and we're already seeing the ripple effect in the stock market. So we know oil companies doing not so well. On the other hand, retail and consumer-oriented stocks have been on a great run lately. So look at companies like Target, Costco, Nike. These are stocks that have run up quite a bit recently and are trading at their highest level of the year. So that's no coincidence that it's in the same combination with oil.
Nice. We'll be looking for some extra Christmas presents this year because of this. I like that news.
If you're on the good list.
If you're on the good list. Ooh. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for being here. Thanks to U.S. Bank. We appreciate both of you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Back to you, Peg.
Okay, thanks, Kelly and Mike. We're all on the good list here. Well, still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch, forget big stores and long lines. Some local startups are hoping you'll do your holiday shopping at an OTR pop-up shop. They'll make their pitch next. And congratulations to Tamaya Denard, Director of Community Affairs for Cincinnati City Council member P.G. Sittenfeld, another of our 40 under 40 honorees. In this morning's Business Insight, the countdown is on to Christmas, and if you're still looking for unique gifts, well, we have some suggestions. The Cincy Startup Store is a one-day pop-up shop for innovative products born in Cincinnati. That one day is this coming Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at 16 East 13th Street in Over the Rhine. It's an idea created by some of the vendors who will be selling their products. Matthew Dooley, co-founder of Capture, and Kevin Habeck, who co-founded Framery, joined Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Peg. Matthew, Kevin, thanks for being here today.
It's great to be here.
So this is kind of a backwards move, right? We're going from being online to trying to have it, actual, not virtually. So tell me, how did this get started? What came up with the idea?
Yeah, I think we sell our products online, and we've always considered what does the move to retail look like. And when we came across an opportunity to kind of reserve a space just for a day or a weekend right here in Cincinnati, we jumped at the opportunity. And at the time, we didn't know fully what the experience would be like, if it was just going to be us. But Framery immediately popped into our heads as another great local startup that has something really cool to sell, and we partnered up and then figured out some other startups that have some cool stuff too.
Well, great. Talk a little bit about your products, and if you can, kind of share what other ones are going to be available as well that day.
Cool. So we're Framery, and we created the first interchangeable prescription glasses system. So you buy your prescription lenses once that snap into a bunch of different frames, and we sell online exclusively right now. And buying glasses is a kind of personal experience, so it's really exciting for us to have the opportunity to sell to the customer directly.
Okay, great.
Our product is called Capture, and it's an audio recording wristband that you tap to save and share what you just heard. So it's always continuously looping the previous 60 seconds so that whenever you hear something interesting, after the fact you just tap it, and then it's saved to your smartphone. In 10 seconds you can start editing and sharing that unique moment.
That's great. And other products are going to be there that day as well? No, it's not just the two of you, but others?
Yes. We've got GoSun and Beluga. Are two great startups in the area?
Yeah, Beluga just finished a Kickstarter campaign. They sell single shave razors.
Okay.
Kind of an old school, bringing back. I actually need one really badly. And then GoSun Stove has these portable solar cookers, and they actually, I think, is the most successful Kickstarter campaign in Cincinnati. And then we're going to have Plus Blue. They have mobile battery packs that you can get custom engraved for people on your list, whether it's employees or friends and family. And then Capture, Framery, Artfully Disheveled is a really unique product because they sell bow ties and ties and pocket squares. And finally, Pet Brosia, and they have custom pet food.
Oh, that's great. It's great. Well, the startup, it's an explosion in Cincinnati right now. What's it like to be in the middle of that right now? It's got to be exciting.
Oh yeah. This is an exciting time for all of us, and I think startups have existed around here for a while, and now the support system is starting to become starting to get in place for us to really make something happen. And it's just a matter of time before one of us makes it big and keeps reinvesting back into the community, and it's just going to be it's just going to be awesome.
That's great. Well, I know they shot some of the photos there. I know you've got one of yours on, right?
Yep.
So if we wanted to know what we just said, you
yeah,
tap
you
it and
just
it goes
tap
right
it.
to your phone,
yeah.
huh?
As soon as something awesome is said, you just tap after the fact.
I'm assuming these are
the frame
yours
rated
right
glasses,
there?
and these lenses would snap into those awesome cheetah frames that we've got. We do prescription sunglasses as well, and non-prescription sun, bifocals and progressives and reader lenses. So we got a great optical lab here in OTR too.
That's awesome. I know I live in Clifton and I work right downtown, so I drive through OTR, 3, 4, 5 times a day, and it's so exciting to see everything that's going on up there, and so many of those being startups like yourself. It just seems very contagious right now. So I hope it continues. Well, tell me a little bit about how people can find out more. Facebook, have you guys got a website out there that people should go to get really the details for the day?
I think the easiest way to get details is to search Cincy Startup Store on Facebook. There's an event that's public for anybody to RSVP and find out the startups that are going to be there, when it is, where it is. It's December 20th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We'll be there all day selling, and it's located at 16 East 13th Street in OTR.
Well, great. I have to check it out because so far I think I've bought everything online for Christmas.
Is that
so
right?
I'll make sure to stop by and actually check it out that day.
Great.
Well, thanks. Good luck to you. Hope it's a great holiday shopping for all of you, and hope to hear more about you guys as the year goes on and we get into 2015.
I'm sure you will.
All right, great. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks,
Peg. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jamie, Kevin, and Matthew. Check that out a week from, or this coming Saturday, I should say, in OTR. Should be a big day. Well, thank you for joining us this morning for U.S. Bank Business Watch. We'll be back next Sunday and every Sunday morning at 6:30 here on Local 12 and at 10 a.m. on the CW. For more business news all week long, you can visit the Business Courier online and sign up for daily emails and follow on Twitter and Facebook. The address is CincinnatiBusinessCourier.com. I'm Peg Rasconi. Have a great Sunday.